I'm going to see how long it takes to boil 2 cups of water on my stove top. This is cold water right from the tap. And it goes. It's on high. And we'll start the timer. I'll come back when we're boiling. We're at about 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and it sounds like we're reaching a boil. I'm just starting. Just under 5 minutes. 2 cups of water to boil on the stove top. That is from a cold stove top. This is an electric stove. I give it a few seconds to warm up. I started from cold water from the tap. So let's go put together a rocket stove and see how long it takes to boil 2 cups of water. Okay, here's what we got. Here's our supplies, and I'll show you how I put this together. I've been building these for a couple years, and they're pretty cool. It uses just a very little bit of dry yard scraps, really. These are old dead flowers out of my front yard and some pieces of scrap wood that I just cut up. So I'll show you how we put this together. I start with a first layer like this, and some people will take one of these bricks and cut them in half. I don't really care if I have some overlap, some overhang. It doesn't bother me because I put this stove together and I take it apart, and you know, a little bit of overhang doesn't bother me at all. So I make my first course, and then I have some wire mesh grate. This is a gutter guard cover, and I lay that in, and then I'm going to, for each next successive layer, I overlap the joints as much as possible and try to keep it as airtight as I can. And because these are just bricks stacked up, it's not going to be perfect as far as the air tightness, but I try to keep them as close together as possible. You see, I set this brick in almost 1/2 inch, and I'll show you why I do that in a moment. Well, let me take this off. Here's why I staggered this brick inward, so that when I overlap this, the edge of this has something to sit on. And now from here, I'm just going to build up a couple more layers, and then the rocket stove is finished. See how I overlap each corner joint? That helps keep it a little bit more airtight than if you have one big seam all in one spot. And it helps stabilize the entire structure as well. Okay, there it is. Done. And now I guess we'll fire it up, get it nice and hot, and we'll see how long this takes to boil 2 cups of water. And so I'm getting this ready to burn now, and I'm just filling it up with some of this yard waste. Let's get ready to light this. we go. Now you'll see how these flames will start to get drawn in. And eventually they're going to start to come out the top of this. Not going to take very long. And I'm just going to keep feeding this in from the bottom. And from the top. There it goes. Once we get this thing chooching, I'll get ready to put some 2 cups of water on. And it's called a rocket stove because of that noise. Once the draft gets going, it sounds like a rocket. It's going good right now. So I think we'll get ready to start our boil test here. I've got 2 cups of cold tap water. And I think we'll get started. Okay, I'll start the clock. How do I start? There we go. Now, even though this uses very little wood to burn, you do have to feed it and be pretty vigilant about keeping the wood flowing in there. I'm going to stop the camera and I'll come back when it starts getting close to boil time. Well, I'm back. I wanted to show you a few things. So the benefit of using this grate and having that air chamber underneath is that this is able to draw air in underneath the wood and use that as air for combustion. You get a lot hotter burn and a more complete burn when you have that airspace underneath the wood. Now what I have on top here are 3 hole saw bits. I couldn't find anything else to use for a spacer, but it works. Whatever, in an emergency, use whatever you can. Vic, will you take the lid off for a second? Let's see where we're at. Oh, it's starting to steam, so we'll cover it back up. And this is going to be close. This is going to be close to the time of boiling on the stovetop. I build these on the weekend just for fun. Cook some breakfast out here with the kids. I went through a little phase about 2 years ago where I would cook my lunch every day on a rocket stove. Grilled cheese, hamburgers, warmed up leftovers. Just because it was fun. It looks like we're getting to a boil here. 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Full rolling boil. That just shows you how much heat this thing can generate, and it concentrates all of it into this small area. And I use literally a handful of dried leftover scrap wood. I'd say it's pretty impressive. In an emergency situation, if you don't have access to clean water, all you have to do to get it clean is just bring it to a boil. That'll kill all the bacteria and germs and make your water safe to drink. This is a nice little system. You can cook on it, clean your water, uses very little fuel. Build a rocket stove, it's a lot of fun. Look at it, chooching in there. It's chooching.